What's up, everyone? It's Nick from the Locker Room Rant. I'm going solo right now, but John might come on here a little later. So, yeah, it's been a while since we've been here. So, I kind of wanted to uh, get in touch with you guys again. We haven't really done a show in a while. We've been super busy. Things have just been getting in the way. So, we're going to talk about a couple things. First of all, Super Bowl has passed. I know it's kind of late touching on that, but it was a very entertaining Super Bowl between the 49er faithful and the sorry, I'm drawing a blank here. The Kansas City Chiefs, Chiefs Kingdom Live. Sorry about that. But yeah, so anyways, it was a very entertaining Super Bowl. I really think the 49ers should have actually won that game. What's going on, Havoc? What's going on, Kirk? Anytime you want to chime in, this is me going solo. This is going to be actually very difficult. So, but yeah, so Chiefs and the 49ers, it was a very good game. I think the 49ers should have won that game. I've talked to the Chiefs Kingdom Live about that. They definitely had the game in their hands. It just slipped away. John's still recovering from that. So um, it is what it is. I think the 49ers will be there next year. What's going on, George? Um, no, I did not kill the others. John might actually be coming on here a little later. Tony, obviously, we know Tony's a little busy with a new kid and everything, so he had to like step away from it for a little bit. But yeah, right now it's just me. So we did not kill them. They're still alive. They're still alive and breathing. So, um, anyways, to get away from the Super Bowl, we'll talk about the new season. It started not too long ago. Free agency has been going on. A lot of things are happening in free agency. A lot of things. Um, Kirk Cousins is now an Atlanta Falcon, and low key, the Atlanta Falcons are getting really, really good. They now have uh, Kirk Cousins at quarterback, Bijan Robinson at running back, Kyle Pitts at tight end, and Drake London at wide receiver. That's pretty good, honestly. I'm not a huge fan of Kirk Cousins, but he is an adequate quarterback, and that's something that the Atlanta Falcons have not had. They have not had, and they have not. Did John finally give up on Trey Lance? I think, honestly, when Brock Purdy started playing very well this season, they pretty much buried Trey Lance. You don't hear too much from him anymore. John's when you bring him up around John, he actually still talks about him and still wishes him the best and still thinks he's going to make something in the league. I don't, honestly. Yeah. He's still young. He still has a chance, but he's buried on the depth chart in Dallas, and I don't see a team that's going to be giving him any chance. Yep. I mean, the Falcons are going to be good in fantasy this year. I mean, Kirk Cousins is always pretty good in fantasy. He's always that quarterback that you can get in like the 9th round or something, and he's going to throw over 4,000 yards. He does it every year. It's just in actual NFL terms, he's never really gotten you much success. Fantasy wise, though, does very well. Um, really, in quarterbacks terms in free agency, Baker Mayfield re-signed with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I kind of anticipated that was going to happen. Listen, as a Browns fan, Baker Mayfield, we don't. A lot of people like to either dog him or like deitize him, like put him on a pedestal. I've always said Baker has talent. He doesn't have like number one first pick overall talent, but he does have enough talent to be a starter in the NFL. Um, he's in a good spot because honestly, no one's really paying attention to him. I feel like when the pressure's on Baker, Baker tends to fall short a little bit. That's what happened in Cleveland. Hopefully he gets his stuff in order in terms of his emotions, because that was what really caused him a lot of problems in Cleveland. Um, Russell Wilson to the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is not on the Denver Broncos anymore. He is on the Pittsburgh Steelers. This actually scares me as a Browns fan. As a Browns fan, this scares me because the Steelers were still a playoff team last year with horrible quarterback play. The Titans fire Vrabel, and GM and head coach open up with an awesome moves in free agency. I gotta be honest. Besides for the Vrabel firing, I haven't really heard too much from the Titans. Unless you're joking, if you want to enlighten me on that, I haven't heard too much from them, honestly. I think they might have got a wide receiver. We'll jump on that, but yeah, they no more Derrick Henry in Tennessee, that's for sure. Although they do have one of my favorite picks of last year. One of my favorite picks was Tajay Spears, and I think that guy's probably going to be a stud for you guys. So it sucks not having Henry. I know Henry's been a part of the Tennessee Titans organization for a while, and honestly, he was really fun to watch, just bowling over NFL defenders like they were bowling balls, you know. But yeah, I mean, oh hey, there's John V. Why don't you get that internet working and come on, help me out a little bit here. um, oh, did the Titans get you? Did the Titans get Snead? Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Snead, honestly. Snead, to me, said they got center from the Broncos. Okay, whatever. I mean, you're going to get some free agents. Tony Pollard. I did not realize they got Pollard. And I did not realize they got Calvin Ridley. Wow. Okay. I haven't been paying too much attention to the Tennessee Titans, but those are actually pretty good moves. Hopefully Pollard plays better than he did last year, because last year he was kind of disappointing. He was coming off that injury, so he might be a little better this year. Like I said, Snead, I'm not too big of a fan of. Snead, I feel like, okay, here's the thing with cornerbacks. If you have really good pressure up front, if you have your front seven providing a lot of pressure, then cornerbacks don't have to cover as long. They just don't. And you can get by having substandard cornerback play. The 49ers are a good example of this. I don't think they have great cornerback play. But their cornerbacks are able to hold up because of the pressure that they provide. Charvarius Ward was an All-Pro this year. I don't think Charvarius Ward's an All-Pro player. I just don't. What's up, Nick? This is kind of difficult. I've been doing this with 2 or 3 people the last couple years, and all of a sudden I'm just doing it by myself right now. So give me a break. All right. My house is a teenage war zone. Okay, fair enough. We had to get a show on here, so that's what I'm doing right now. Other than that, not much quarterback action. Josh Dobbs to the San Francisco 49ers. This is something that John has been clamoring for left and right. He, for some reason, loves Josh Dobbs. He thinks Josh Dobbs is the greatest player on earth. Well, now, buddy, you got him. I actually think Josh Dobbs is pretty well. I think Josh Dobbs is pretty good. Josh Dobbs is a backup. He's a good backup. He's a solid backup. If you want a quarterback to steady the ship, if something were to go bad for a couple weeks, Josh Dobbs is a fine player to have. But if you're expecting anything more out of Josh Dobbs, then you know what? I don't know what to tell you. It was proven this year that he was able to do a couple, maybe like 2-3 weeks of really good play, and then kind of craters. You know, Darnold is actually on Minnesota Vikings. They will be getting a quarterback this draft. They're not going to stick with Sam Darnold as a quarterback. They can't unless they're trying to blow the season for next year. And with all the good quarterbacks in this draft, I think that they're probably going to trade up and get one. They got a couple first-round picks. I think that they're in a good situation. Tyler Huntley to the Browns. Third-string quarterback. I don't think make too much of it. I actually really still want DTR to succeed on this team. I think DTR is pretty good. Whether or not he's a good fit on this new system that the Browns are trying to run, that's a lot of the talk where he might not be, and they might be trying to trade DTR. I don't know what you're going to get out of DTR. He was a 5th-round pick last year. I don't think you're going to get any more than a 5th-round pick out of him this year. Tyler Huntley signing was a little bit perplexing to me as a Browns fan. I really wasn't anticipating it. I really don't know how it makes the team better, but hey, he was a Pro Bowler a couple years ago. I don't think he necessarily deserved it, but as a third string quarterback, yeah, he's fine. Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston. Listen, we all loved Joe Flacco last year. Joe Flacco was a great story. I always said they should have got a guy like Joe Flacco before they got Deshaun. We got Deshaun now, so Deshaun's better than Joe Flacco. He just is. Anyone who says otherwise is fooling themselves. But Jameis Winston has been pretty good in his career. We kind of discount him because he was a first round pick, and we kind of like to think that he sucks. But he's actually, I mean, he led the league in throwing yards one year. So I mean, he's not terrible, and he's pretty good, and he's kind of a similar quarterback in terms of Deshaun. So I think it was a good signing. I would have loved to have seen Flacco back here, but they chose to go in a different direction. And I believe in Andrew Berry, so I'm gonna put my faith in him. How about that? In terms of running backs, Josh Jacobs signs with the Green Bay Packers. Saquon Barkley signs with the Philadelphia Eagles. Tony Pollard, like we said, signs with the Tennessee Titans. Austin Eckler with the Washington Commanders. DeAndre Swift with the Chicago Bears. There's just been, I think everyone's been trading their starting running backs around pretty much. The one that scares the crap out of me is Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens. There's a lot of talk. Is he the best fit? He might be. He might not be. I don't know how that works. I would think with a guy with Lamar's talent, and that team is so built around Lamar, that I would say I would want a speedy back. I wouldn't want a guy like Derrick Henry. But Derrick Henry is a great back. You can't deny that. He's been awesome for like the last 5 years. He's had a 2,000-yard season. He is very hard to stop when he gets a head of steam behind him. So, thoughts on JJ? Can you give me who is JJ? But yeah, he's the one that really strikes me in that group. Also, Saquon to the Eagles. I'm not a huge fan of DeAndre Swift. He was okay. But the Eagles were not great last year. They were not good. They got beat in the playoffs by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are not a great team. I'll get to the draft here in a little bit. Honestly, JJ McCarthy, I'll touch on it a little bit, but JJ McCarthy is, to me, he's kind of an unknown. Is he Mac Jones or is he something better? He's got a little more mobility. He was great in college, obviously. Led Michigan to the national championship game. But is that going to translate into the pros? I don't think a lot of people know, but from what it looks like, he's going to be the fourth quarterback taken. So either somebody's going to get a boom or bust on that one. But yes, Saquon Barkley is actually a legitimate back. DeAndre Swift, I don't think is a give the ball to him 20 times a game back. Saquon Barkley is. So Philadelphia looks like they improved on that note. How much is that going to help him? I don't know. Can he stay healthy? He did last year. So let's see if he can do it again. I know 49ers fans are hoping this fails miserably. Other than that, there wasn't really a ton on the running back situation. I know Brown signed Deontay Foreman and Nyheim Hines. Those are just kind of to steady the ship. They got Jerome Ford coming back, so they're hoping he can take a step. I wasn't a huge fan of Jerome Ford. So, will JJ be the second quarterback taken? I don't know. I don't think he'll be the second quarterback taken. I think the kid out of LSU will be the second quarterback taken. Will he be third? Possibly. I mean, there's a chance he could jump. There's a chance he could be fifth. Right now, everyone's saying fourth. And that's kind of where I'm leaning to. I don't think he's better than the top three. But yeah, in terms of Jerome Ford a lot of people like to downplay how good he was, and a lot of people like John, for example, like to say that he's great and that he should be your starter. Honestly, when the line was good and the line was healthy, Jerome Ford was fine. When the line was decimated by injury, Jerome Ford didn't do that great. He didn't. He was pretty bad. Because a lot of running backs in the league are just okay running backs. They're not usually running backs. You're not getting the greatest of athletes. They usually tend to go towards wide receiver because they get paid more. But there's a lot of adequate running backs in the league. Jerome Ford's one of them. There's not a lot of Nick Chubbs out there. So either you're versatile like a Christian McCaffrey, or you're just kind of another guy. So Williams is going to be a massive bust. Same thing with Daniels. So here's the thing with Caleb Williams, with what I see, this is just my personal opinion. When you're talking about his athleticism and his arm, I mean, it is undeniable. That guy is amazing. He has amazing intangibles. He's a great runner of the football. He has an amazing arm, an amazingly accurate arm. He can buy time. So he's got all that going for him. The only thing is there's something in the back of my head, and maybe it's just me, and I know there's a lot of talk about it too, but he's a huge diva. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, he's not a diva. Yes, he is. He refuses to work out for teams. He refuses to go through what the normal thing that a quarterback coming into the draft does. He makes a bunch of weird demands. I think at one point in time he said he wanted stake in a team. Dude, you haven't even played an NFL game yet. There's a lot of people that come in with talent. I mean, he's one of the more talented ones, but he's coming in like he's the number one quarterback in the league. And I just don't. Maybe he might be, but he hasn't proven shit yet. So there's something I don't like about Caleb Williams. There's something I just don't like about him, and there's something I'm hesitant to do. Now, my team doesn't need a quarterback right now, so I don't have to worry about that, nor would we even be in the running since we don't even have a first-round pick for Caleb Williams. But Daniels has been doing all the right things, and Daniels has been, I mean, he has a lot of talent. He's a little small. It's another thing about Caleb Williams too. A lot of people weren't talking about. He's under 6'1", so he's not a big guy. That could be problematic. I mean, he is 6'3", so that's not the smallest person in the world, but he's not a big guy. Jaden Daniels is much smaller. He's probably 5'10", 5'11", weighs about 180 pounds. Got a lot of talent there, but our team's going to hesitate. I don't think they are. I think he's probably going number 2. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. I think he's pretty much set in stone at number 2. So let's go with tight ends. Oh, John V is in the house. Thank God. All right. But yeah, not too much on the tight end. Dalton Schultz signed with Houston.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Are you playing podcast right now?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? What's the conversation?
Going over free agency right now. We already went over running backs and quarterbacks. Just touched on tight ends. About to go into wide receiver right now.
Touchdown on the Ohio State Buckeye Stover.
What's that?
Huh?
No, we're talking about free agency. We haven't gotten to draft yet.
You're not doing draft?
I was going to, but I'm not doing it yet. We're just touching on free agency and how.
Okay.
How all
this is your show.
How all that's going. So we'll go to receiver. T. Higgins got franchise tagged by the Cincinnati Bengals. No one knows if T. Higgins is going to play yet for the Bengals. From what I'm hearing, they're trying to trade him. That's always been the thing. T. Higgins apparently isn't happy to be franchise tagged. I never understood why people don't want to be franchise tagged. Like if you're franchise tagged, like you're guaranteed to make like top 3 wide receiver money. That's a lot of money. Why would you like not want that? That being said, I mean he probably could on the open market get a ton of money. Michael Pittman signed with the Colts again. Mike Evans re-signed with the Buccaneers. So there wasn't too much movement. Marquise Brown to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's an interesting one. Because Marquise Brown is a guy that honestly hasn't really done all that much. Hasn't really done all that much in his career. He's had good seasons, but none of them have ever really been like really good seasons. But how is that dude's speed going to mesh with Mahomes and Kelsey? How is that going to mesh? Because I think it actually could work out perfectly. It could be dynamic. He's not Tyreek Hill, but he is a pretty decent receiver. He just hasn't really been in great situations. Calvin Ridley to the Titans. I kind of low-key wanted the Browns to get Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley has had really good seasons in the past. And he's like physically a gifted receiver, great route runner. I mean, he had the 1 year where he had to sit out, and last year he played. And honestly, he got kind of overshadowed by Christian Kirk. Once Kirk went out, Ridley wasn't able to carry the load. But yeah, after not playing a year, maybe that kind of sets you back a little bit. I think the Titans could have gotten a steal with Calvin Ridley. So I don't know what to think of it, but from what I will say right now, I think it's probably a really good move. Not really much else that happened in free agency with the wide receivers. There's a lot of just staying with the same team. Now the Browns did make a trade, and we traded for Jerry Jeudy. John actually called me up and informed me of this. I was sleeping at the time, and he's like, "You guys just got Jeudy," and my first instinct was, "Fuck." I was not happy about Jerry Jeudy getting signed on the Browns, but for what they gave up, and what he was, and I know he signed a contract, so they're betting big on Jeudy. But in terms of the actual trade, they gave up a 5th and a 6th, not much. Although I am kind of interested in the middle of this draft. So kind of giving up that 5th kind of makes me a little queasy because I think you can get a good player in the 5th round this year. But for 5th and 6th, if you look at Jeudy's tape, I think you'll see bits of excellence. You'll see the athleticism that caused him to go.
Good quarterback play, though.
What's that?
With good quarterback play.
Yeah. So, I mean, he hasn't really had
Deshaun has to play well.
Yes, he does. But you do see the athleticism that and the route running skills that caused him to go early in that draft. Yeah, I mean, it can work out. I'm a little squeamish about it. I'm hoping they don't completely punt the receiver position in the draft because if it was me, I would not have gotten a Jerry Jeudy this draft. I would have went heavy receiver in this draft because I think this draft is loaded at receiver. I've been looking over tape on wide receiver prospects, and there's some of them that I love, and some of them that I love they might get undrafted. Like these are guys that I think would go in the second or third round in most drafts. I love a lot of receivers in this draft. We'll save that for a different show. Or I might even talk about draft loves after we talk about free agency. But yeah, not much with the receivers. A lot of staying put. Honestly, with tight ends, not much going on there. There weren't a lot of great ones. Dalton Schultz was the only one. He kind of stayed put in Houston. Offensive tackle, Tyron Smith with the New York Jets. Trent Brown with the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals have been trying to rejuvenate their offensive line for years, and they haven't been able to do it. Trent Brown is a very good and very old offensive tackle. Is this going to be what it takes to make that offensive line good? Maybe, maybe not. I hope not, because they're in the Browns division. But yeah, and they don't need Burrow doesn't need any more reason to become better. Michael Onwenu, he was a hot name, re-signed with the New England Patriots. So he goes back to New England. Mekhi Becton. I'm looking at this. It doesn't say where Becton went, so I'm not sure Becton went anywhere. Jonah Williams. He signs with the Arizona Cardinals. No big deal. After that, kind of nothing. Interior offensive lineman. Robert Hunt was a big name. Signed with Carolina Panthers. I don't know what the Panthers are trying to do right now. So the Carolina Panthers were terrible last year. I don't see any of these players that they got. Now they got some good players, like Calvin Ridley was a good pickup. Tony Pollard's a good pickup. I don't think it makes them like instant contenders, but yet they're spending a lot in free agency. And I get you're trying to make your quarterback that you picked last year, you're trying to make him a winner. But I mean, maybe my mind will change at the end of the draft, but I just don't see what they're doing as making themselves into contenders or even future contenders right now. Like I said, my mind could change after the draft. Or maybe they're geniuses. Kevin Dotson with the Los Angeles Rams re-signs. Kevin Zeitler signed with the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions have had a couple really good moves this draft. I mean, this free agency period. I think they're getting a lot better. They're filling up their holes. Their team wasn't perfect last year. That conference is horrible, and they're one of like the only 2 or 3 good teams in that conference. But I really think they're filling up their holes. So they got Rucker, a defensive tackle from Cincinnati, and what does that not sound right? Anyways, defensive tackle from Cincinnati. The guy killed us all the time. And they also signed Zeitler to a 1-year deal. Pretty damn good guard. So that offensive line is going to get a little short up. Not really much else other than that. John Feliciano re-signs with the San Francisco 49ers for a year. I was actually kind of shocked. I thought when he basically shit on Burford, he was out.
No, I mean, it was shitty, but I mean, you'll overcome that. He was good.
That's a bad locker room. Then again, he also was kind of sticking up for McKivitz too. So,
look, he played well, played damn good. Ranked amongst the rest of them in PFF. I know that's not the most valid measure, but I mean, he was there. He did great. I mean, did he have an outburst? He wasn't lying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was true. I mean, that being said, I mean, are you really just gonna let him hit free agency and not even attempt to sign him? You don't have a right side as it is. You need all the help you can get.
Okay, fair enough.
And he's not bad. He's a great guard. I don't mind him. Played right tackle, right.
He's always been.
He can play center. He's done it all. I mean,
very versatile.
I like a versatile player.
Mm-hmm.
What's Scott saying? Chiefs, Lions, Super Bowl.
It's possible.
It's damn possible. I mean, it is very possible. That's for sure.
We'll see if my Browns have something to say about that. Interior defensive line was the position of the free agency this year. Chris Jones, Chiefs made the right decision and re-signed him to a huge extension. Chris Jones is one of the best defensive players in the league. He's one of like 5 defensive players that really can make your defense from average to really good.
He can affect the ball game, man. He can really make havoc. He can really shed havoc, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If it wasn't for Chris Jones, Chiefs don't win that Super Bowl.
He's
It is what it is.
just a man, just a massive dude with
Always
a motor
makes
that's
plays.
insane.
Always makes plays when it counts. I mean, he's just awesome. That's why when you guys said sign Snead or sign Chris Jones, I was like, send Snead packing, pack his suitcase for him, and send it to wherever he's going. Because if that's your choice, Chris Jones all the week, all the way.
I don't know that they had to get rid of Snead to keep Jones. I really don't think so. They gave up Snead for a half a bag of popcorn and a bag of Doritos.
I don't know.
The Titans gave up. What did they give up? It was not anything to. I think it was.
And for the it was DJ Reader, not Rucker, from Cincinnati that went to Detroit. So Fletcher Cox retired, so you guys don't have to deal with him anymore. Justin Matabuki re-signed with the Baltimore Ravens. I know he was being talked about as a guy who could possibly move, but they managed to keep him. Son of a bitch. I wish he would have went somewhere. Leonard Williams signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Re-signed with the Seattle Seahawks. And Grover Stewart re-signs with the Indianapolis Colts. Sheldon Rankins signed with Cincinnati Bengals, so he's basically taking over Reader's spot. Taylor Tart's still a free agent. That's actually a pretty interesting name because he's pretty good. I don't know why he's still out there. No one's tried to go after him. Maurice Hurst, my man, re-signed with the Cleveland Browns. The Browns were able to keep both Shelby Harris and Maurice Hurst. I like that. They lost what's his face? You guys, actually. What's his name? Can't remember his name now.
Who?
The guy that we lost to you.
Oh, you gave up interior
defensive
tackle.
Elliott.
What the hell's his name?
Jordan Elliott. Jordan Elliott. You guys got him. Is Jordan Elliott going to be a great player for you guys? I don't know.
Sure.
He actually played.
Sure.
So Jordan Elliott was absolutely god awful for every year of his career. Like we were to the point, like we wanted, like a lot of Browns fans wanted him cut at the start of last season.
He arguably was going to be. He was arguably going into the 2026 season or 2025 season. Or I'm sorry, the 2024-2025 season. A starter on your line.
Yeah,
he was not dog water. He was very good.
Going into last year, he was
very reliable.
He was horrible. But last year, I don't know what Schwartz did to him. I don't know if Schwartz scheme fit him. Played pretty damn well. Made a lot of plays for us. Still a young guy. He's coming off his, obviously you guys signed him to his second contract. But if he can recreate that and even add upon it, you guys got a pretty good player on your hands. Hopefully he wasn't just playing for the contract, but we'll see. And that's pretty much it for that. Edge rusher, Josh Allen was franchise tagged. So was Brian Burns. Houston Texans with Danielle Hunter. I don't necessarily know how. I don't know how much I absolutely love Danielle Hunter. And he's kind of just replacing Grenard. So I don't know how much better it is. Maybe it is a little better. But Grenard had a hell of a season last year. I mean, he was really good. Bryce Huff was a guy that I liked. I thought the Browns might go after him. He ended up signing with the Philadelphia Eagles, so that's another guy you'll have to deal with. Chase Young went to New Orleans. Grenard went to Minnesota. So they kind of just switched Grenard and Hunter. They just switched teams pretty much. So who knows? Davian Clowney's still out there. He hasn't been signed by anyone. We resigned Zadarius. You guys signed Leonard Floyd.
I love Leonard Floyd pickup. The Leonard Floyd pickup was excellent. That's a grade. I give that like a B+.
I think it's a good pickup. I think it's a good pickup. He's a little older.
It's better than Chase Young. Chase Young wasn't wasn't doing anything for us. I mean, he was absolutely lazy. He was a huge
Mhm.
disappointment to me, honestly. I was very disappointed. So
I
I'm happy
wasn't.
to have Floyd.
I kind of figured that's what he was going to give you guys.
A great big fuck you is what he gave us.
Cleveland
thanks,
Farrell,
thanks for a ride to the Super Bowl.
you guys lost out. You guys lost Cleveland Farrell to the Washington Commanders. There's still some interesting names out there. Yeah, there's Calais Campbell still out there. I mean, he's older than dirt, but actually had a really good season last year. Kyle Van Noy. I don't know if Van Noy is I think he might be injured pretty badly. I'm not 100% sure, but he's still out there. You got Bud Dupree and Yannick Ngakoue. Names, I don't know really how great they are anymore. And Emmanuel Ogba, also a name. I don't really know how great he is anymore. I think he played pretty decent last year for Miami, but I don't think he's at the peak of his career anymore. Linebacker, Patrick Queen with the Steelers. Like I said, the Steelers have been making some moves that have been scaring me. I think Patrick Queen's a Steelers type guy. And granted, it's either him playing on the Steelers or him playing on the Ravens. But Patrick Queen's one of those guys that I really hated playing because he always seemed to make plays against us. Roquan never really scared me all that much. Patrick Queen actually did. Levante David was the guy that I really wanted the Browns to get. I really wanted Levante David badly. They did not sign him. He's re-signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Frankie Louvu signed with the Washington Commanders. Bobby Wagner signed to the Commanders as well. Jerome Baker signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Azeez Al-Shaair. I know John wanted him back on the 49ers real bad, but he signed with Houston Texans. So he's going – I don't know if he played with D'Amico or not, if he played under D'Amico or not. But either way, he's going to play with D'Amico now. Devin White, not necessarily sure. I mean, I think he's more of a name than anything, but he signs with the Philadelphia Eagles, and we got Jordan Hicks to basically fill the Anthony Walker role. So, not really much else on that. I know you guys lost out on Oren Burks, so he's with the Philadelphia Eagles, and I guess you could also throw in the Browns signed Devin Bush, former first-round pick of the Pittsburgh Steelers, kind of a flop. Hopefully we can resurrect them. I'm not necessarily certain how the Browns are going to do that, but who knows? He was the 10th pick overall in his respective draft, so we'll see. Cornerbacks. There's a lot of talk about L'Jarius Sneed. He is now on the Tennessee Titans, apparently. Jalen Johnson re-signed with the Bears. Kendall Fuller signed with the Miami Dolphins. Kenny Moore with the Indianapolis Colts. There's still a couple names out there that are kind of interesting. Stephon Gilmore, older than dirt, but has been great in the past. I don't know if Stephon Gilmore has a little left in the tank, but he probably doesn't cost that much. And if you need a cornerback, if you have a bunch of young ones, yeah, sure, why not? Adoree Jackson is out there. I feel that he could possibly give you some pretty good quarterback play. He's pretty good. I know the 49ers, it was rumored that they were interested in him last year, but they didn't put the trade, either that or the New York Giants didn't put the trade in time, and that trade wasn't able to go through. I don't know the validity behind that story, if it was actually true or if it was a wives' tale, but yeah, that was the story going around. A couple of 49ers names that you might know. Akella Witherspoon's still out there. Emmanuel Mosley re-signed with the Detroit Lions. So that's pretty much it on that. Former first round pick Jeff Okudah signed with the Houston Texans. Antoine Winfield. Now we're talking about safeties. Antoine Winfield re-signed. Actually, was franchise tagged to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Antoine Winfield's awesome. He is an awesome safety. true game changer at that position. There's not too many defenders out there. They were smart to franchise tag him. They should probably sign him to a long-term contract because he's one of those like 5-6 players that really can make a difference. Other than that, not too much in terms of safeties. CJ Gardner-Johnson's back with the Philadelphia Eagles. Tayshaun Gibson hasn't signed yet, so I don't know if the 49ers are going to try and bring him back or not. Xavier McKinney signed with the Green Bay Packers. Cincinnati Bengals got Geno Stone. So now when we play the Cincinnati Bengals, Njoku can toss Geno Stone around like a rag doll. Kyle Duggar, franchise tagged by the New England Patriots. And Cameron Curl signed with the Los Angeles Rams. Doesn't look like much else is going on there. That is pretty much it for free agency. The Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley ones signings, those have a chance to be really impact signings for those teams. In terms of defense, I love that J.D. Reader signing from the Detroit Lions. And that's pretty much it for free agency. Like I said, there's still some names out there, but most of the big ones have gotten taken up. So you're probably going to not hear much from those ones that are still out there for like the next couple months, actually. As far as the draft goes, we'll have a deeper discussion. Maybe me and John will have a deeper discussion on the NFL draft later in a later episode. But I'm going to name a couple of my draft crushes, basically. So I don't really have a crush on anyone in the draft in the first round that are surefire first round picks because the Browns don't pick there. But in terms of people who are going to be available in the second rounds and later, I'm going to start out with a linebacker. This is my number one draft crush. If he's available for the Browns, if they don't take him, I'm going to be super upset. A lot of people are expecting us to go receiver. If this guy's available, I would not go receiver. I would pick this guy, Edgerrin Cooper. Edgerrin Cooper, Texas A&M, middle linebacker. He is amazing. He's amazing. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of JOK. JOK, John apparently has his hands full, so I'm going to rock for about 10 more minutes. He kind of reminds me of JOK, Edgerrin Cooper. He is, when you watch his tape, he's instinctive. It's almost like he knows what's going to happen before it happens. He is able to make tackles for losses like no other player in this draft. If you look at all the other linebackers, yes, there are some good linebackers with some good 40 times and some good testable numbers and some good stats from their college career. But nobody is able to impact the game at the linebacker position like Edgerrin Cooper. He is just different. Watch tape on him. You'll love him. I got 2 wide receivers in that class. My 2 wide receivers that I love are Xavier Legette. Xavier Legette out of South Carolina. Xavier Legette, there was a lot of talk. I was in love with him when his listed statistics when his listed measurables were at 6'3", 230. Now he's not 6'3". Apparently he's only 6'1". That doesn't matter. He's about 230 pounds, runs a 4.39 40, and he looks every bit of that when you watch tape of him. Not only that, he can go up and get the ball. He is a load to take down. I mean, he's not easily tackled. He is strong. He is DK Metcalf, AJ Brown-like. The Browns don't have a guy like that on their team right now. They have their route runner. They have their guy with a little bit of athleticism. They have their scat backy type receiver. They don't have a guy who can create yak. And I think that's who the Browns need. Xavier Legette. If Edgerrin Cooper's not there, and he is, that's the guy you go get. I think that guy's unbelievable. If you can't get Legette and Cooper's not available, or if you do get Cooper, you might be able to get this guy in the 3rd round. I love Malachi Corley out of Western Kentucky. Everyone needs a Debo. The 49ers have theirs. I think Malachi Corley can do somewhat of what Deebo does. I think he can. He's built kind of in that ilk. He's like about 215 pounds. He just, I realize it was Western Kentucky, and I realize he's not playing against the best competition, but no one guy could take him down. No one defensive back could take this guy down. He would run over you. He would either run over you or run around you. One of the two things, you ain't getting him down with one guy. He can make yak. He's a little better than Deebo is, honestly, though. He's a little better than Deebo is as a receiver. Maybe, I don't necessarily know about right now, but he's a little better, at least when they came out. I think that he can do really good things as a third-round pick. I think that's a steal. I think Malachi Corley, if he played on a better team in college, a more well-known team, and he did the same thing that he did in college, I think he would be a first-round talent in normal drafts. This is not a normal draft. There's about 10 receivers that I can name off that I'd be fine the Browns taking. Then at tight end, there's a couple draft crushes of mine. Jatavian Sanders. I don't think he's getting past round 2, but he is in an absolute load at tight end, and he's super fast, and I think he creates mismatches all the way around. You could probably use him in a couple different positions. You could use him as a fullback. You could use him as an H-back. You could use him as a full tight end. You could even use him as a receiver. He's that good. I also like at tight end a guy by the name of Spanford, Devin Spanford. He's huge. He's like 6'7". He's like 6'7", 6'8", weighs about 260, runs about a 4.5 40. He's going to run under the radar. You're probably going to be able to get him in like the 5th, 6th, 7th round. I think the guy can be one of the steals of the draft. I think he could be your Gronk type guy. If you make him, if you put some effort into him, you coach him up. I don't think he'll be ready immediately, but I think if you give him some time, he will be a huge weapon for you. As far as defensive tackle, this is going to be kind of. I like Hall out of Ohio State. I also like, and this is going to be I think he's going to go first round, but he's not guaranteed to go first round. Jerzon Johnny Newton out of Illinois. I think that he has. It's kind of unfair to compare him to defensive tackle of this ilk, but he has like Aaron Donald type stuff about him. He really does. It's unfair to ever compare somebody to maybe the greatest defensive tackle ever to play the game, but he has that, man. He's a run stuffer, and he gets to the quarterback like nobody else at that position. And he's a little slightly undersized. I get that, but so was Aaron Donald when he came out, and we see how that worked out. So those are essentially my 5 draft crushes in this draft. We'll have a little more further emphasis on the draft as it goes on. I just wanted to get out here and put a show out on because we haven't really had much material out there lately. Me and John's schedule is a nightmare to try to get situated, and there a bunch of stuff got in the way. So hopefully this wasn't too much of a bore. just listening to me talk. Took me a while to get into the zone of things, and honestly, I don't know if I ever really did, but I got a lot of decent feedback in the chat here, and I appreciate that. I may try and come and do this periodically, maybe not for 50 minutes, but I may come and try and do like a 15-minute talk every now and then, basically spew my thoughts everywhere. And if you guys will care to listen, you guys are free to come on and jump on the comment list with me over here. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. We're gonna try and talk to you a little more here on out. So basically, we're gonna end the show. So thanks everyone for coming out and who did. I know it's short notice. We kind of planned this at the last second. So Peace.